Welcome to the very first episode of the Leather Lounge. My name is Sean Longstreet, and I'm the community advocate for Leather Wallet and host for the show. This is a packed episode where we discuss the DeGrants program, music on Stacks, Audionals, early projects including Crash Punks, This Is Number One, and Parrot Radio, and so much more with the most prominent OGs from the Bitcoin and Stacks communities. Enjoy. All right, let's go. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Leather Lounge. Take a seat, grab a drink, make yourselves comfortable. This is our very first show, and I could not be more excited. We have lined up a quote-unquote stacked evening for you, or morning for you. And here at the Leather Lounge, this is what we're all about. We're all about peeling back the layers of the Bitcoin economy, exploring stacks and everything that's happening, being built on Bitcoin. And today, we have an exceptional lineup, and I'm very grateful for everyone who agreed to jump on. Usually we're aiming for a 60-minute show, a nice tight 60 minutes. Every episode will focus on one of three things. We'll be doing 101 style deep dives with an expert so that we can shine light and offer clarity on smart contracts or anything that's happening in Stacks and Bitcoin. And then we'll be doing spotlights on community artists and creators, the people who make this ecosystem so vibrant. And we'll also be doing deep dives with people who are building on Bitcoin and DApp experts. But today, as it is the first show, it's going to be a very special lineup. So we're going to be moving fast here. Here's the lineup in order of appearance, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting with the very famous, none other than Hero Gamer. We'll be hearing from Good Kitty, Boozy, Teflon Musk, Zero Authority, ArnoFromEarth, Jackbinswitch, Jim, as in Jim.btc, 300, Grace from Crash Punks, and The Artist, and maybe a couple bonus guests as well. So considering we have so much to get through, we're just going to get started right now and check in with Hero, who is actually not here yet. So we're going to move forward to Good Kitty. So Good Kitty, are you on mic yet? Good Kitty is not on mic yet. It's a good thing we have a lot of people lined up here. I do see Boozy in the audience. Boozy, do us a big favor, unmic yourself. And, considering we have such a short time, if we could all just keep this in mind, imagine that someone is tuning in. They just found out about Stacks because they saw that, it's the leading L2 for Bitcoin. So they thought, oh, this looks like number going to go up. Let me learn about this. Let's give them a little backstory on why Stacks is so poised to do well as a layer 2, and to shed some light on what the ecosystem is like, where we came from, and then we'd love to hear how each of you got started and what your contributions have been so far in the space.
Hey, GM, everyone. Yeah, I guess I'll start with a little bit of who I am. I think we all know each other in this space. I see, all the OGs, of course, you Longstreet, Jackbinswitch, 300, Jim, Zero, Arno, Annabal's in the audience, Empathic, Dash, everyone's here. The whole crowd is here. Grace, everyone's going to be here today. So I think we all know each other. So I won't go on too long considering time about like my journey in Stacks and kind of where I came from. But the gist of it is I found an interest in Stacks specifically because I was never really into NFTs until obviously I saw the JPEG summer of 21 and I saw the craziness around that, and I saw artists being successful in digital art. And prior to that, I was of the whole like thought process of right click save. I didn't see the benefit of digital art because you can just save it. But being a Bitcoiner and knowing and understanding Bitcoin at the time, I thought there'd be a great way to put art on Bitcoin, and Stacks seemed like the perfect way to do that. At the time, there was no Audionals, of course. That came years later, and I wasn't really familiar with like Counterparty at the time either. So Stacks seemed like the perfect fit for me to dive into NFTs and digital art. So I launched my first project back in I think it was January of 2022, a little small collection of 24 PFPs called Booze Brains. It was my genesis journey into NFTs. And the Stacks community was so welcoming, so great. At the time, I was lucky enough to be in the Megapont community very early when they were first issuing like a allow list. So the Megapunk community really turned up and supported me. And ever since then, it's been, anyone in this space knows that, in the Stack space knows that, like, we may play in Solana, we may play in Ethereum. Now we're all kind of dug into Ordinals, but there's no community like the Stacks community. Like, they're the most friendly, helpful people that I've ever run across in any blockchain, to be honest. And that's, to me, that's like the biggest part and the most important part of what makes Stacks so special. Is just the community and the people here are just wonderful. And I love to see that even now, like, as everyone's just buried in ordinal related things, and now the runes mania, I love to see there's so many people in Stacks that are still very Stacks focused. Like Hero Gamer is a prime example of this. I mean, he is always pushing the gospel of what makes Stacks special. And now there's this new unlock with Nakamoto, and the ability to use Bitcoin as actually like a payment method for whether it be DeFi or NFTs or however this plays out. It's just the next level of Stacks kind of leveling up. And I'm really excited to see that take place. I'm really excited to personally come back into the ecosystem a little bit. Like I've mentioned with Ordinals, I've been so focused over there on the actual, Bitcoin side of things. And just that's been where all my time has been. But I'm excited now with this layer 2 narrative really heating up now that the fees in Bitcoin have kind of gone through the roof because of things like runes and, BRCs. There's definitely a place for the L2s to shine. And I think Stacks is already positioned to be that prime example of what makes a Bitcoin L2 great. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I'm really excited to participate. With all this excitement, I finally got back to work on my third Stacks collection, which was See Yourself Out. And I started working on the season 2 for that because it's the perfect time. Now that Stacks is going to be really getting hot again, I'm just excited to be playing in there and getting back to seeing all my old friends and all the old Gs. I'm just really excited about what the future holds.
Wow, man, that was a great intro to Stacks. Time won't allow us now, but I'm hoping that one day you'll share the See Yourself Out story and what that was kind of intended to be, because I think it's a pretty poetic little thing. So yeah, Boozy, thank you so much for jumping on. You're welcome to stay on as long as you want to and can. Jump in when you'd like. But yeah, everyone, please do, refamiliarize yourself with Boozy's art, with his collection in Ordinals. Obviously, we recognize his artwork being everywhere, multi-chain and everywhere. Thank you again, Boozy. Appreciate you being here, man. Good kitty. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Awesome. Well, like I just set the room in the beginning, if you could please just take the position that, someone new is listening. Yeah, it's a familiar room. We've got all the OGs in here. But for anyone listening back who is new to Stacks, maybe they're in for the number go up technology, help them understand what makes Stacks vibrant, how you got into it, what some of your favorite projects have been, and what you are excited about.
Yeah, okay. So I guess my journey into this incredibly wonderful world of Stacks began about 3 years ago. I'd kind of been working in the music and art industry, and I'd gotten to the point where I was just sort of driven to find something better. And I was sitting in the lounge and I was just Googling over and over and over, what is the better opportunity for artists on Bitcoin? How do you find that? I just started with, trying to look for other opportunities, but generally with Bitcoin. And quite quickly, actually, I stumbled on Boom Wallet, which I think had the first NFT marketplace on Stacks. And I was kind of immediately drawn to what it represented, which was really this unique opportunity to bring what I wanted, this artistic expression, to within the realm of Bitcoin. And like Boozy was saying, almost instantly discovered this very supportive and accessible community, which I hadn't found on any of the other chains that I'd been playing around with. And within quite a short time, I made a lot of good friends, and I think many of them are actually here today in the panel. And yeah, from then our friendship has just grown and grown. So it's a very friendly, very loving, very nurturing community.
True. We echo that. Yeah. Please continue.
Yeah. Sorry. I know, it's kind of like, I think you're going to hear it out of everybody's mouth, how divine this place is. Yeah, so through my time here, I've kind of watched the NFT market slowly grow, kicking off with, like Boozy said, Megapond, Crash Punks. We had the guests. We had some some really incredible communities around these NFT projects. And we kind of all stuck together during the bear. Things kind of slowed down and then really kind of came to a halt with the introduction of the Audionals protocol and the excitement that was going on around that. But what's exciting is that I've seen some great activity again recently, specifically around the Mojo drop. Check out my profile picture, which is very exciting for me. As Boozy said as well, very much looking from an arts perspective, very much forward to how the Nakamoto upgrade, which we're expecting now in August, will enhance how artists interact with Bitcoin, particularly around the faster transaction times, which I think for artists will bring quicker uploads, faster sales transactions, and probably a much more dynamic interaction with their audience. And then obviously with the introduction of SBTC, Stacks will be able to empower artists with new tools, I think, for creativity and for commerce, which is exciting to think about when you imagine that their work will be directly linked with Bitcoin's liquidity and security. And I think that will give even more artistic innovation to Stacks. So it's kind of coming full circle for me for what I came here for and for what's finally happening.
Amazing. Would you also mind talking about the music side of Stacks? And, we don't have anyone here for Parrot Radio. So maybe if you wouldn't mind giving Parrot Radio a plug and also talking a little bit about your mixtape and the first round of the DeGrants program, which will be a beautiful segue into Hero Gamer.
Yeah, sure. So with the Stacks DeGrants cohort 1, I put a proposal forward to bring music to Stacks, and I'm very privileged to have been a winner. It was important for me because I have been in the music industry in senior artist management for about 20 years, and I'm a big advocate for music to be compensated fairly and for musicians to be treated respectfully when it comes to their art, which hasn't traditionally been the case. And music on blockchain seems to be the closest to the potential for equitable rights for artists. The greatest potential that I've come across over my years. If we look at deals on offer from the record label giants, we've got a situation where artists literally pay for the right to be heard with the rights to their music. And then we've got more recently giants like Spotify who have, again, reshaped the landscape, probably for worse, to where it's gone from unfair to unethical. So, if you look at artists today, they've got almost no way other than this free or freemium streaming models for their music to be heard. And in return, they receive a ridiculously low payout. It's sort of 8%, right? So there isn't enough for artists who generate millions of streams to barely buy lunch, let alone pay the bills or create new music. So with Stacks Mixtapes, my goal is to try and educate music consumers about this and to onboard musicians into this very brave new world. And so this brings me to our inaugural project, which under Stacks Music, which is a mixtape. It's an acoustic album that features 8 original tracks created exclusively for the Stacks community. The musicians are all really successful as real-world artists, and we've paired them with 8 very well-known OG Stacks visual artists. And then each track is accompanied by a corresponding artwork that's been inspired by the music. And then all of it is packaged together as a complete 8-track album, allowing each person who mints it on Gamma to receive the full collection. So, yeah, I just want to use this, like I said, as an opportunity to educate people. I am super excited. I'm super nervous as well because I don't think music has sort of advanced in crypto in general. So, yeah, I think it's a way to bring mass adoption, probably one of the best ways to bring mass adoption just because people are so used to consuming music digitally. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about, again, to be part of the cohort. Again, I was a steward last time. I'm a steward again this time. And I'm going to be representing the NFT category. for the DeGrants Fund program. And the goal there is to build creative innovation on Stacks in art, music, photography, film, and in literature. So I kind of want to investigate more film and literature as well as NFTs. And I've brought in 5 stewards, each steward to represent one of those categories, all very sort of, they're very good at what they do in those categories. And so, our goal is really just to explore new talents out there, whether it's in our ecosystem or in other ecosystems. And so, if you are an artist in the audience, please join us. Please come to our spaces and bring your ideas and your proposals. We'd love to have you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Good Kitty. Yes, and Good Kitty has that weekly spaces that everyone should have on their radar. So thank you again. And what a good transition to Hero Gamer. Hero Gamer, you're a familiar face in all of these spaces. So we're going to, I guess, just focus this little intro on anything that you see relevant, but especially on the DeGrants program that you have started.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here and see so many familiar faces. Yeah. So, I guess my work started from doing governance stuff, which is like basically the way we vet a network standard. But that slowly because it's kind of related to giving people power, so to speak. That's the most simple way to put it. And, in some ways, like a lot of the crypto grants are very centralized, and we try to innovate in Stacks, how we can think about it differently. So, with the community help, we came up with the first run of the DeGrants, aka decentralized grants, and sort of gave community purpose and gave community sort of much more decision power than before, where the decision power basically lays almost all in the hands of the community, how they decide things and how we're gonna design the program to look like. I try to sort of encourage the community to come up with the most fair way that they can reach a consensus. So we ran the first cohort with 25,000 experimental fund, and that went pretty well. And now we are saying, okay, so we've done one round. What have we learned? What can we do differently? How can we make it more fair? And how can we, and also just try different program design so that we have, new things to build on. So that's what we're doing right now. So thanks to Good Kitty and her group, like they are leading up the NFT sort of pillar. And we have the DeFi pillar. We have the BNS one. I just had almost like a BNS town hall with the BNS guys just now. And then we have the like governance and DAO pillar. So we have 5 pillars, and then plus like a sort of like a cross pull kind of situation. It's like other categories, if you like. So that's what we're experiencing right now. Still in the design phase of the program. So if anybody is interested in helping to shape it, the program design, to join some of my Twitter spaces.
Amazing. And before we transition away from DeGrants, can you talk about the different ways that people can support? A lot of people in this ecosystem, what we all have in common is the value of decentralization. And something that you said a lot was fairness. So what if you just hit us with a couple of ideas on, if someone comes in here and they think, I don't know how to be a Bitcoin developer, like, what am I going to do? Shed some light onto the different ways that people can support the DeGrants program in any way that they can.
Yeah, I would say the first thing, the easiest, is just come up on the Twitter space and have a conversation with us, because we don't know like whether you are a developer or whether you are more of a degen. Like it's kind of hard for us to say this is the unilateral way for you to contribute. If you're into NFT, I would say like maybe think about your passion. Like your passion is in NFT or in music or what? Or is it in DeFi realm? Or is it in DAOs and governance realm? So think about your passion, because what we need is expertise and passion within each pillar. And then those guys can come together and have a discussion about how can they leverage their knowledge and passion to come up with a short list of ideas to push each pillar within Stacks forward. So I would say jump onto the spaces of the interest of the pillar that you're interested, and then just start having conversation with these stewards. So, for example, if you're interested in NFT, go to Good Kitty's weekly Tuesday 2 p.m. Twitter Spaces. You're gonna meet all the like-minded people specifically about your passion. And then when you have those passionate people discuss things together, like you will naturally figure out a short list of things that you can contribute, because people will get to know your skill sets, get to know your background, get to know your passion in more details, and then we can piece the pieces together and sort of collaborate in a way that you fits your lifestyle and fits the whole of the community. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Hiro, for sharing your insights and wisdom and endless time on Twitter Spaces and in people's DMs. So thanks so much for the support. And I also want to shout out Console. So Console is a kind of a cleaner, sleeker replacement, if you will, for Discord. And a lot of these communities have been popping up in Console. Some of them are transitioning completely away from Discord. So if you want to interact with Hiro and the DeGrants program, they are active in Console. Okay, so let's transition to 2 absolute legendary artists in the Audionals and Stacks ecosystem. We're going to hear next from Teflon and Arno. And Teflon, why don't we have you go first?
GM. Good to hear from you, and good to be up on stage with everyone here. It's a packed house, so it's fun to be here. Yeah, I started, I guess, my public-facing art career in Stacks. Just kind of tired of seeing the collected number so high and the created number at 0 on Gamma. So started that. I think I was looking back. I think it was about 2 years ago. Then from there, with like the first Skier's Paradise collection, I did a little frog collage collection on her Pepe's and kind of the GN culture of crypto. And then I also did the Time-Bound Dreamscapes collection on Stacks as well. But I mean, I think my involvement in Stacks and the Stacks community is much beyond my art on Stacks and my art in Ordinals. It's definitely something I'm super passionate about, and I really hope to double down on. I think there will be, a lot of fun things in Ordinals, and then a lot of fun things in Stacks, I think, happening soon with, like, as people realize, like, the difference between Ordinals and NFTs and, like, what's possible with Stacks as, like, leveraging Bitcoin finality and, some more things like SBDC and what Good Kitty was talking about with music and some of these, like, really cool projects. So really excited about the future. I'm, happy to talk a little more about my evolution and what I have going on, but just a little intro for folks that don't know me and don't know my background here.
For sure. Well, one thing that I always noticed, that the deeper the bear market got, the better your art got, and you just kept releasing, and on Stacks too. Like, I think for a time, it felt like you were literally the only person releasing things on Stacks, and I appreciated that so much. So you just kept on going.
It's a lot easier, I think, for me and maybe for some other artists here on stage to focus on art during the bear market. There's just a lot less going on and a lot less distractions and a lot less green candles and to take away the dopamine hits from you. So definitely the last few weeks I've been like, been able to get that again as well. So yeah, it's something about the bear market and red candles that just make artwork a little better for me.
Beautiful. And so let's see, you mentioned a couple of your collections. Give us some names again, just so we know what's on your radar, what we can look at.
Yeah, and I actually just tweeted one from the first collection, the Skier's Paradise one. So this was the first collection I launched, and I had, created all these pieces leading up to the ski season. The plan was just like whenever it was time to start skiing, I would release them all with an auction a day for all the, bear market buddies that are, sticking around and kind of, still collecting art throughout the bear. So that was the first one really, a lot of it was just putting out my, art that I really liked around something that, means a lot to me and a lot of my, friends and community, and really tried to capture a lot of the vibes that, that you get while you're skiing and kind of living this culture from October to May or whatever that, you can't really capture in a photograph. I mean, you can, I'm sure, but I can't capture in a photograph. So I express myself through collage art and stuff like this. So that was the first one that I did. And, I believe you and a few others here on stage have collected some in that one. So that was the very first one that I did. And, was also, gave me a lot of confidence in the digital art space and kind of putting my stuff out there as, cohesive collections like that and, getting a lot of positive reception. It was just very fulfilling as a creative. So from that, I mean, it was kind of, I don't know when it was exactly the timelines, but I know it was after I met with Dr. Suss and a lot of other folks in this community and in the counterparty community and the rare Pepes that I decided to bring the frog collection. It's called Ode to Roy. And that the theme is all around like kind of vintage televisions with like the glitch in the background is, very, Roy Lichtenstein style, but with the very minimalist frog collage that I thought was just a fun ode to Roy and to pop art and to Pepe pop art. And, Pepe's role in pop art, especially nowadays with crypto art and all that. So that was just a really fun one and a good one to kind of, put that moment in time, on the blockchain and put those pieces out there. And then the last one, which is still ongoing collection, I'm going to cap it at 50, which is the Time-Bound Dreamscapes collection, which has been some of my favorite and the best collage pieces I've put out there. I've put a lot of great ones on Bitcoin as well. And, the upcoming collection, who knows if it's going to be in July or June or August, but with sometime this year, I'm thinking maybe time it with Bitcoin Nashville, or maybe time like the pre-sale for that and do it around that time. But yeah, that's been my pride and joy of my Stacks. And I think some of my best art on Stacks is in the Time-Bound Dreamscapes collection. So that's been the last. And I hope, doing some more collabs for sure. They're already in the works. We're a little more multimedia. And I think definitely want to do more multimedia, maybe even, kind of stop motion animation and with some music and things like that are only possible on Stacks or on NFTs, in that form. So excited to keep playing around on the internet and in these corners of the internet.
Amazing. That's a great recap. And I can't think of anyone who is more suited for like some sort of honorary degree in crypto culture. You really know the deep cut. Your knowledge is vast. So I always enjoy your content. I'm a big collector. So thanks for everything you bring to the space, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate that. And I think this upcoming Audionals collection is hopefully going to capture that. It will capture that more than any of the past has. And I think with Audionals and on-chain metadata and all those things, you can really tell a cool story. The inscription medium is just really cool as an artist. So I'm excited to get this one is definitely more crypto arty than ever with the theme and the concepts and everything. So excited to share more of that with you and the rest of the folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Teflon. We'll go to Arno next and Zero after that. And Arno, speaking of collaborations, multimedia, Arno, please welcome to the stage, man. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Longstreet. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Congrats again on joining the Litter team. I'm a huge fan of your musical talents, as you already know, and you are a great communicator.
I'm so sorry. My buttons changed. Sorry. I guess I automatically mute when too many compliments get thrown around. So sorry about that, Arno. Get it going again. I was trying to bring Grace up on stage here, and my buttons all changed right before I did. Let's keep it going here. Oh, come on, Twitter. Let's go. Arno, I'm waving at you from across a couple time zones. I bet he is saying the best things Arno has ever said in the history of spaces right now. Oh, no. The fat thumb has never been fatter.
Happens. It happens.
It does happen.
Maybe we can have him drop back down drop down a listener and try to come back up. It's probably just Twitter rugging.
Yep, I think so. Zero, you're lined up. Let's go.
Hey,
let's
Long
get you
Street.
going next. Yeah, thank
Can
you.
you come back to me really quick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll come right back.
Thank you.
And let's see. Next on the list, we also wanted to go to Jack. Can you go for us, Jack?
Hey, what's going on, Longstreet? Man, from the intro music all the way to hearing everyone talk, it has just been awesome to be here. I don't know how you could be more psyched, on a red day other than being here right now. I'll do something that's challenging for me to do, and I'll exercise brevity. But in terms of the Stacks community, it's such a good example of the idea that in order to make, future organizations of humans work, government, whatever you want to call it, you basically just all have to agree on one thing. And here we all agree on Bitcoin. And I believe that is at the core of what makes the Stacks community so amazing. And when you talk about Stacks as a crypto asset, what makes it so special is its relationship with Bitcoin, right? The fact that Stacks would not exist if Bitcoin didn't exist. Everything's all about the consensus mechanism, the proof of transfer. So yeah, that's what really, keeps you here. You come in here and you hear people like Hero and Good Kitty talking about all of these decentralized ways that we're trying to improve people and improve the community and improve technology. You have these amazing artists who have contributed so much to culture, and it's just the place to be. And we're innovating here in ways that no one else is doing. We're doing things that, the things we're building today will have direct trading pairs with SBTC in the not too distant future. It's just a very exciting time to be here with just absolutely amazing group of people.
Awesome, man. And where can people learn more about Rue? Where can we read your writings? This also is a good time to plug an early Stacks ecosystem, like a really powerful piece of that, and that is Seigel. So would you mind, plugging Seigel real quick, your writings and Rue?
Oh yeah, where I kind of fit to Stacks when I started was I discovered Seigel, which is a NFT collection, amazing art, by the way, absolutely phenomenal, that allows you to use a decentralized writing platform. And you have to realize this is before, Twitter became X. This was launched in the time where internet censorship was probably at its worst it's ever been. And here was this decentralized application where you could write. And that really spoke to me. And I'm like, this is a tool that needs to be used. So I spent a long time, over a year, talking to developers and teams and so forth, and featuring artists and projects. And yeah, so I mean, I have a website, jackbinswitch.com, that links to all of those writings. There's over 100 articles in there. And it turned out to be a really cool thing to do. It was almost like a newsletter for people in the ecosystem to see what other people were developing. And that was a completely unintended consequence. But there's still, even though we're sitting here on the heels of Nakamoto and SBTC, there's still a lot of gold to mine there. So I would encourage especially new people to go check that out. Most recently, my partner and I launched a token on Stacks called Rue, Kangaroo the Jumping Coin, which is a meme coin if you want it to be. But if you're paying attention to the space, you're starting to see the term meme-fi being tossed around quite a bit. And basically what we were trying to do with Rue is not only figure out the things that make tokens work, we're also trying to, cast the jaundiced eye at the things that don't work. So we tried to have a very fair launch, tried to have anti-whale measures. We launched a blockchain game called Solana, kind of making fun of Solana, because it can shut down arbitrarily and people can get blacklisted and so forth. It's kind of a funny concept in and of itself. But we have the UI and leaderboard slated to release this weekend. And when you play Solana, you'll basically be burning Rue. And that's just one of the DeFi applications that we're kind of working on in this new, like I said, this meme-fi kind of title. If you're paying attention to what Welsh has been doing with creating these these new tokens that are kind of like multi-asset tokens, it's super, super interesting, and it kind of represents a whole new class of crypto asset. So we're thrilled to be a part of that, and would definitely encourage anyone to come along as your risk tolerance would allow you, and be on this journey with us as we kind of push the envelope to see what's possible.
Awesome, man. That's great info. Thanks so much, Jack, for everything that you've been bringing to the ecosystem. Appreciate that. And back, Arno. I'm so sorry. I think it's completely my fault. I was trying to bring Grace up on stage and I accidentally muted everyone. So all the golden words that you had to say, nobody heard them.
No worries at all, man. So yeah, hello everyone. Congrats again on joining the Ladder team, Longstreet. I'm a huge fan of your musical talents, as you already know. And you are a great communicator with many artistic talents. So I know you will be a fantastic community advocate. Longstreet and I know each other for some time. We have worked together on a couple different projects. One of them is called Loopal. It's on Stacks, and it might just be my favorite project I've worked on. And a lot of that is because of Longstreet's amazing composing talents. He really brought those characters to life with it. And I'm super proud of everything we have worked on together so far. So yeah, I love to create 2D animations, and my passion for this craft started 3 years ago when a project on Stacks called Cycle approached me and asked if I could animate an explorer from their NFT project. And because of that question, I discovered the amazing magical world of 2D animation. And the reason they approached me was because they had seen my very first attempt at animating a project Indigo Wastelander as fan art, and that was animated completely different as I animate now. And I still absolutely love that they approached me because of that first animation I did. My whole NFT journey actually started on Stacks. My first Web3 wallet was Hero Wallet, now known as Ladder. And I have used it to launch all of my animations on Stacks and Bitcoin. So thank you, Ladder, for being my trusty wallet during this amazing adventure. That was just a little of how I got really into animating and NFTs. So now I also start releasing some animations as Audionals. These animations have to be very short and limited because the file size can very quickly become very large. And with my last Ordinal release, the Rune Master, which is a runestone and the movement around it inspired piece, I try to focus more on the overall look of it than the animated motions because I'm so limited on Ordinals. But despite of that, the Rune Master became one of my favorite creations. So being limited can definitely result in awesome works. But I love creating a little bigger animations, a lot with many more frames. So I really hope NFTs on Stacks are getting a lot more attention again. I really love having my art secured on Bitcoin. And also, it hasn't been that long since I have been active on Stacks, thanks to a very cool opportunity I got from the Pizza Ninjas to animate the Angel Ninja that went on auction not that long ago on Sotheby's. The animation wasn't auctioned there, but the original piece created by the incredible Pizza Ninja artist Boozy was. The animation was a celebration of that and was released as editions on Stacks for free. Another amazing thing that happened thanks to the ninjas was that they put a fan art animation I've created of Trevor's ninja on a huge screen at the halvening party, which is absolutely unreal and one of the biggest highlights of my career as a basically hobby animator. So that's all, folks. I'm currently working on some exciting stuff, and if you like to check out my animations, then definitely go to my Linktree. The link for that is on my X profile. Thank you so much for listening.
Arno, what a beautifully succinct intro to all of your work. As I'm looking out at the audience, some are speakers, some are listeners, but many of them are collaborators that you've collaborated with. And I love how your journey started with fan art. For a lot of us, that's how this all began. It's just people coming together and saying, love your community, love your work. What do you think about a collaboration? It's one of the great things about this ecosystem. So thanks again, Arno. I'm excited for our next collaboration as well, as soon as that gets finished up. And one thing I do want to say one more thing about Arno. He's one of these artists who has such great care and attention to detail that when he sends you the penultimate version, it's almost done. It looks amazing and perfect, and you say, okay, let's press, publish. Let's get it out there. He'll write back 24 hours later and he said, hey, there was a couple little things that I just wanted to dial in. I spent another 16 hours changing these things. And it's barely noticeable to most people, but for Arno's high standards and attention to detail, that's just the quality of work that he wants to put out. So that's one of the things I really appreciate about you. So thank you for jumping up and sharing your journey. Okay, I think I got a little... Okay, Zero, are you ready to rock yet? We may have to come back. Oh, Zero requested again. Let me jump to another person who I've collaborated with and Arno has collaborated with. 300, can you jump on the mic?
Hey, what's good, everyone? Thank you for having me here. Yeah, I remember I got in the Stacks community 2 years ago, and I didn't know much about NFTs. I thought NFTs were just JPEGs and stuff. So I remember the time that I introduced myself to you. I fell in love with your art, the Indigo. And then I went and did my own thing on that. I added some vocals on it and I sent it back to you and you loved it and you said, this is nice. And I got some of my skills, I got it from you in the Stacks community. And also, yeah, I'm an artist by profession. I started doing music in 2010. So I found Stacks as a way of preserving my music so that it can live forever. YouTube can just close anytime or your channel can just get flagged or you lose everything. So I found it as a way to preserve my music, to put it in the blockchain. It'll live forever. And I remember also doing a collaboration with Arno for a track called Ice. That's the one that is on my profile picture. And it's one of my best work on the ecosystem. And also I did some anthems for communities. The first anthem that I did was for NeoSwap. I remember when NeoSwap started, they hit me up and said, we want an anthem for our community. And I created an anthem for them. And yeah, up to now, I'm still doing music in the ecosystem. And also I've worked with guys like Gold, Ghost Breath, and Goodbye for an EP that we're dropping called BTC EP. And we have a single that we dropped. So yeah, music is my thing. So if you want to collaborate with me, I'm always open.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, and you seem to move real quickly and turn things around real fast. So it's been a pleasure doing collabs with you and seeing you just bring so much enrichment to every community, because every community needs a bespoke song, as we know. Let's see. All right, so Zero, let me get you up here. All right, coming up right now. We'll wait for that mic to turn on. Hey, Zero.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What's up?
Dude, classic. I always know it's you. You should try to come and hit it. We'll play a game. I can name that speaker in 3 notes.
Hey, we're going to have to turn the next one into Name That Tune, Longstreet. You'll have to get on the guitar, just start going after it, and then 300 does some beatboxing, and then we have to just name that tune. I think that'll be a fun one for the next round. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for hosting this space. Amazing energy. I know the price is down. I know Nakamoto's rolling back. I think the most important message when you first said, well, what's something that new people could learn? It's just to be patient and stick around. I saw a tweet. Somebody was tweeting Jack the other day and they said, man, I would love to be a Stacks OG. And so I just responded and said, dude, you want to be a Stacks OG? Just stick around. Because the hardest part of all this is when the price is down, when everyone's feeling down and gloomy, it is so easy to run and tune into something else, go watch Netflix. The hardest thing is to stay building. I mean, a lot of you guys on stage, a lot of you guys on audience, I'm doing projects with. We've been talking together about doing some type of collaboration. I know a lot of you guys, I know where your heart is. The people that are new to this thing, new to Stacks, new to building on Bitcoin layer 2s, be patient. The market always comes back. The market will be down. The market will be up. What you can depend on is that there will be people here when you need to answer some questions on how can I do this crazy thing that I want to get done. So I just see a lot of builders here in this audience. I'm just scrolling down. I see Ileana in the audience too. And I mean, what a cool testament to Nakamojo NFTs, right? We all feel it. I see Mark in the audience. I had my IP earlier too. I kind of had to switch back so people know it's me, but NFT on Stacks, they're back, baby. We're back. The market is coming back. Don't be afraid. This is a good time to buy some more Stacks. Load up. I think the other probably most important message to Hodl Stacks we've been building for a while now. We have our two platforms, Trajan.app. Please make a profile there. Connect your wallet. We have zeroauthority.xyz. Please connect your wallet. Make a profile. Support us. I think the biggest thing we've seen from builders is this is if everything was really easy to push out code and to push the back end and to make a front end, there would be no alpha, right? So embrace that. Feel the joy of the challenge where these things are really hard to do when you're trying to get that clarity code done and it's super hard and you're like, man, this thing is hard. Man, I can't find developers or I can't find UX designers. Embrace that moment and get out into the community, get into the Discord channels, jump into the console channels, jump into X, jump into people's inbox and say, can you help me? I know I will be there glad to help someone. So I think that's just the most important thing for me. And so thank you for creating the space. Thank you guys for all of you. You got the beautiful PFPs coming up to speak, raising your hand, just being a part of the community. That's what it's all about. This is Web3 has given me a lot of purpose back in my life. Obviously, I have my kids, my wife. That's probably the highest purpose that I can have. But this Web3 Bitcoin, I would be lost if we only had stocks and trading bonds, right? This whole Web3 thing has given me immense purpose. And I know it's given you guys immense purpose. And so if you're listening to this on the recording, please jump in and stay when it's another bear market and try to build something. Thanks, guys.
Brilliant as always, Zero. Thank you so much. And yeah, the market is down and we've got a delay in Nakamoto, but it's better to do these things the right way. And honestly, like you said, it's a good time to buy more and to do more with the stacks that we have, because it's more than just, a token to hold in your wallet. It's a way of engaging with the community. And if you scoop up some more stacks, that means that all of your favorite art from your favorite artists, many of whom have joined us so far on the stage, it's on sale. So it's a great way to just secure something that's often limited for forever. By the way, speaking of limitation, so something that a lot of artists experiment with is how big a collection should be and what the pricing model should be, because you want to get paid fairly for your work, but you don't want to price people out. And when 300 talked about the collaboration that he did with Arno, I think it was the piece called Ice. They released it as a 1 of 1, and it sold for I think 1,200 stacks, which is very that's a healthy bit of profit for the artists. But that means that only one person gets to hold that, and I know I would love to have that piece in my wallet because it's an incredible piece. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit right now about Gamma, who got a couple of shout outs. The team is incredibly busy this week, so they couldn't send representation for the spaces, but it's a very familiar platform to anyone up here on the stage. So if you're looking to collect art, that is the place to do it. If you're an artist looking to release NFTs on Stacks or as Audionals, Gamma is the place to do that. So big, huge shout out to Gamma, formerly Stacks NFT, for doing so much to drive culture and adoption within the greater Bitcoin and Stacks ecosystem. So yeah, huge shout out and gratitude to Gamma. So let's keep it moving here. We've got Jim and then Grace. So Jim.btc, welcome to the Leather Lounge.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. It's so cool that you're part of the whole leather community now. I think it's they've really lucked out with you, actually. Although I have to say, leather also. I mean, it was Hero in the beginning, but they were such a. There was one point in the very beginning where they were literally the gatekeepers to Stacks, because as early NFT builders, we couldn't actually access the chain without them. So it was, yeah, it's amazing that everything is kind of finally falling back into place, as have you.
Thanks, man. Well, I think you and Dash played a little bit of a part in some of the steps along the way that may have led me to where I am right now. So I'm very, very grateful for you. So let me ask you about This Is Number One, because, I mean, talk about one of the most OGs in the space. Tell us how that got started.
Well, we were kind of involved on the periphery of Blockstack, as it was called in 2019, just working on, we were just solid Bitcoiners, never really participated in anything else, wasn't even planning on doing NFTs. When we were initially working on Blockstack, it was only when the mainnet sort of was about to go live, and then we were working with Mike Cohen, who's one of the core developers, and he showed me the smart contract that he built, and I was like, wow, what, we could do anything with this, but something that I've heard is quite big news on the other side of the train tracks is NFTs. So then we sort of set about finding some really big artists. In fact, we got Fatboy Slim, Cara Delevingne, Orbital, Dave Stewart, Chemical X, someone I think I've forgotten, but we got these artists together and said, look, we want you to do something. None of you have put out NFTs before. We think you should do it over here. It's not going to make a lot of money, but it's going to be just doing the right thing. It's going to be pointing people in the right direction ultimately. And, I'm really glad that we did convince them all to do it. But that was very, very early. That was obviously launched into the network in, was it January, February or March of 2021. So, we got some nice press for the network, but obviously no one was really ready for the idea of anything creative happening on Bitcoin. So it was very early days, but it's so great to see so many people here who really were there. I remember most people being there in some way, right back at the very beginning. But it was, there was no NFTs, there was no NFT market. We produced NFTs before there was a marketplace. Gamma came along afterwards. I had a few conversations with Dan Trevino at Boom, because he had his open contract. I think there's still an open contract. Anyone can mint on it. It's awesome. But I was saying to him, I wasn't a developer at the time. I have a much greater understanding of it now. But at the time I was talking to Dan going, why can't we see each other NFTs on the same page? And I'm sort of harassing our developers saying, we need to be able to see all the Boom NFTs here. And they're like, but why? We've made these NFTs. I think people just didn't really understand how things were going to fall into place. And then Jamil just dropped, what was it called? Stacks NFT, which now became Gamma. And overnight, it was like, we had to pivot instantly, because it was like, okay, someone's done the right thing and we don't want to be double handling, he's done it instantly off the bat. It was really great. And it was like, okay, there's where we now go to look at all of our NFTs in one place. And that was probably towards the sort of the latter part of 2021, I guess. That was the first time anyone could see all their NFTs in one place. By then there was a few different projects, but again, you could only view your NFTs on that project's website. So yeah, it was very early days, and that contract is still out there. It's still the V1. This is number one contract. Still has our first three collections on it, but because it was built prior to any SIPs, it's not the easiest thing to make compatible with the marketplaces. We may end up migrating. There's three collections on there. There's probably, I don't know, 1,200 NFTs on that contract. And in the beginning, I had to keep calling up Jamil every few weeks and saying, "Oh, the Fatboy Slim songs aren't playing anymore." And he'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's right, you've got a different contract." We have to go and get the devs in again to fix it. So yeah, thankfully they've still kept that up. Gamma have been amazing since the beginning, not only with us personally, but just the way they dealt with royalties, the way they prioritized the artist, the way they made it clear that an NFT market has users and it has creators, and they really got the model right, and they set the bar, I think, and they set an ethical bar as well. So I think there was a lot of stuff that was a little bit lucky maybe in the beginning, that we had such benevolent gatekeepers in the start, because anything can happen in those early days. But I think there was a genuine goodwill, I think, is what Stacks started on. Don't forget, Stacks started the right way. It did not start with hype. It started with an application to the SEC, which had never happened before. It's the first and I think still the only token that's ever been granted an SEC license to do its sale. So he did things the right way, but it slowed things down. But it did really mean that everyone who was here for the right reason. So I think that has now matured, and that's why Stacks is the place it is today, is because it really did. It came from the right place right from the get-go.
Definitely, yeah. It has staying power because of that too.
100%.
Thanks,
yeah.
Jim. Thanks for the feedback and the insights and the history. I also want to make sure that before we move on, everyone listening knows, where to find you, and also what you're working on the Audionals side as well, because that's been a long journey of building and, like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. So give us a quick rundown of music on Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's been a hell of a journey. I mean, it definitely distracted me a bit. And I'm now in the process of building the bridge back to Stacks, which is where it started. We started with music. Our first thing we did was working with the Fatboy Slim thing. We wrote royalty splits into the contract. It may have been a bit naive, but at the time we were kind of imagining everything's going to go through this contract. And, it was always there. And then Audionals came along, and it obviously set a new bar, a new standard. But we're very quickly seeing, I said as a bit of a joke, for years, we've been saying, people on Stacks have been saying Ethereum is the test net. We get to see them we get to run the course kind of thing. As we were building, we're like, yeah, we're 5 years late, but we've seen everything that's happened over there, and now we've kind of got a head start. So it was amazing, like being in that position. And we were saying Ethereum is the test net, and then little did I know that Audionals would happen, and now Bitcoin became the next test net, all just pointing to Stacks, because Stacks kind of needed the use case. We built the infrastructure a couple of years ago. Really, I think people would be surprised just how young Stacks is, but how mature it is, because it's just been done in the way that it's grown. It's been so organic, and so it's amazing to kind of be here today to see how everything's panned out, to see Bitcoin just bolstering the use case to Stacks. I can see that data on Bitcoin being very important, and what I've been working on is recursively putting drum beats, not even drum beats, a drum, a snare, a hi-hat, creating the tools that you might use in Logic or Ableton, whatever you're using if you're a music writer, but to have it on chain. So then when you create the songs, those songs are just very, very small files of text that are just the instructions, like your project file you would save in Logic, except because everything is on that same hard drive, those songs, they can be, all of the audio we've been putting on is all WAV quality audio. So you end up with this WAV quality songs that are like, a 70 megabyte master, it's a 20 kilobyte file. So that's kind of what I've been working on. But now I feel like the Stacks solution might well at some point be a hybrid where you are trading songs that created using the data on Bitcoin. That's never going to go anywhere. It's never going to lose its value. The ability to trade it is questionable unless and I actually spoke to Mike Cohen about this today, about the idea of, if I can send an inscribed Satoshi to the SBTC bridge that recognizes that it is an inscribed Satoshi, and then it not only sends my Bitcoin into SBTC, but it creates an SBTC version of my inscribed Satoshi, which can be sent back and brought out again. And he said, yep, this is 100% possible. We've been talking about this. It's like, okay, great. So we can send an inscription token, the token that owns the inscription. The data stays on Bitcoin. That's very valuable. But now the token for ownership can move on to Stacks, and now we can trade. You can write that music still, using all that Bitcoin data, but then trade it on Stacks. Even creating a master on Bitcoin. So that master, everything about it is completely on Bitcoin. It will never disappear. But now you're able to tokenize the ownership of that on Stacks, which will be tradable in 10 seconds with the Nakamoto. And I think there's going to be a bit of a big disparity between the people who insist on continuing to trade on Bitcoin and people who are trading, genuine ported derivatives on Stacks, and they're able to do 100 trades in an hour versus this poor bloke who's sitting waiting for his transaction to confirm for 2 hours on Bitcoin. It feels like there'll be a bottleneck, which will be in Stacks' favor.
I know one day we're going to be looking back with the good old days of having to wait 1+ hours for our transactions to clear. So soon, very soon. Well, thanks again, Jim. I really appreciate hearing from you. And we're going to go to Grace next. And then Hero, if I can call on you after that, just to kind of round things out and give us, we've been talking a lot about artists and the creative community in this space, but I also do want to end with everything else that's happening in this ecosystem, whether it's the various dApps that we have or DeFi. But first, let's go with Grace. So Grace, who was really OG as well, with an incredible collection for Crash Punk. So Grace, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much, and congratulations on being community advocate for leather. So amazing. Let's see. I mean, it's been such a wild ride, just seeing Stacks evolve. At the time, it was just we didn't really have many tooling, and now there's just more of a flourishing ecosystem of builders and people just like building really cool things. Yeah, so I've been working on the Crash Punks, which is a Stacks NFT collection, one of the earliest ones. And Jim.btc and Residio, the team from Number One, had actually helped me set up that collection. And then since then, been doing a lot of things where initially when I worked on the Crash Punks, I wanted to do a metaverse on Bitcoin. And we were in a way, pretty early for that to happen. But now I think a lot of the technology has been catching up. So that is a lot of what I've been exploring. I've been doing a lot of filmmaking, storytelling. So with the Crash Punks characters, we're doing this whole, got muted. Yeah. So we did this whole animated series, and episode 1 is available. It's on my Twitter as well as on YouTube. But I think for me as a artist and a creator was running into some walls just with where I wanted to take the story and how, where I wanted to take the audience, because it is very much about, the story is about the character going to the metaverse to explore their identity, their gender identity, but then the metaverse is populated with AI avatars who are programmed to seduce people for their data, their biometric data. And so I kind of wanted to take the audience with the character in this journey. So I was playing a lot with augmented reality. I was playing a lot with virtual reality. And then the past year, been working a lot with AI filmmaking. And it was kind of running into some walls. And so have been building the tools that we need in order for the creation process and the storytelling process to be easier. Yeah, and then I also work with music. So I did early collection on Audionals, the Diamond Finger, and then have also inscribed music onto Bitcoin so that I can create some more immersive music experiences with that. And so super excited to experiment and play around with a lot of the technology that's coming out. There's so much that we can do with Audionals and Stacks, and I'm excited to see more of it come together. I'm also super excited about something I was talking about with Trip and Monkey in the audience, is getting smart contracts with revenue splits going so that we can actually collaborate better on these projects. So that's something that I've been needing, and super excited for what's to come.
Amazing. Thank you. One thing that so many of you all have in common is this ability to understand and to be interested in the tech side of things, some sort of artistic style and background that you're blending in, but also this element of culture and the way you come into the space and what your intentions are to shape the culture. That's one of the things that I really admire about you. Is there anything else you want to say about, culture building in this space? It's such a nascent space. There's so much growth happening. What are your thoughts on the evolution and the development of culture, and how should people be, intentional about that?
Yeah, I was actually going to send out a tweet thread about this, but something that I've been thinking a lot about is just art in Web3 and not just visual art, but music and artists in general. And I guess like personally for me, something that I felt, I think, a bit bummed out by is I think like within Web3, it's so easy to kind of mistake a long-term artist's investment versus a quick flip. And I think for me, I'm very much like building it takes a long time to build something that's sustainable. It takes a long time to build something that is cool and lasting. And for me, I'm really, I like, for me as an artist, as a creator, as an entrepreneur, I'm very much like aiming for, I want to build something that's super meaningful. I want to build something that can affect a lot of people. Yeah, it's just like meaning and impact and long-term sustainability. And so I think because of that, I'm not necessarily like, even for me, when I collect, I'm not like, a quick flipper. I like to, collect like long-term art projects and artist careers. And so yeah, that's something I think a lot about, where, because we're in Web3 and a lot of the culture can be around flips and memes and everything. But then I feel like we want to make way for more artists' careers and artist voices in the space, because, when I think about creating art, and I think a lot of art isn't necessarily built in a hype cycle, or a lot of art isn't necessarily coming from the loudest voices. A lot of art can be created in the quiet times of reflection, or it's like, a lot of art can be created in these like profound, deep times of reflection. And even if you were to go to a gallery or a museum and you're connecting with a piece, or if you're watching a movie or listening to a song, it's very much like in those quiet times of solitude that you're really appreciating the art and what the artist has to say. And so I don't think that we really have enough of a space for that in this kind of pretty loud Web3 culture. So I hope that is something that we make more space for, just really appreciating the art and the journey.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, thank you so much, Grace, for your insights, wisdom, and contributions and leadership in the space. Okay, Hero, we have a little bit less than 10 minutes. I do want to be respectful of the BitFlow Spaces that starts next, but this so far has been an incredible conversation with incredible guests, very heavy on the artist and creator side. So if I can ask you to jump on and just give a kind of a broad overview of a lot of the dApps and DeFi and other things that have utility in the Bitcoin layers and Stacks greater ecosystems.
So do you mean like you want to know like what other DeFi stuff is going on?
Yeah, exactly. Especially for anyone who's rather new coming in, just so they have, it's not just Alex right now. There's a lot of players in the game, so I want to highlight everybody.
Yeah, sure. I made a thread about that actually. So yeah, I think, it started out being a small ecosystem. We almost had the Uniswap on Stacks for a while. And then other players started to come in. So just reading off the list, you have Alex, which is more like Uniswap Stacks, but they also build bridges to other ecosystems now, and also have liquid staking. And then you have Akadiko, which you can borrow against. You borrow stablecoin against your stacks. You have Bitflows. Also, I think the unique thing about Bitflow is they're really good with stablecoin stuff. So if you do stablecoin swap, it's great because it's cheap fee, low slippage. And what they do is they actually aggregate a lot of different protocols sort of prices, so you can get really good prices on their platform doing swaps. And then you have Zest, which is borrow and lend. And then you have Vela, which is almost like the up and coming sort of Alex kind of situation, if you like, which they do all kinds of stuff like swap, farming, pools, and everything. Yeah, there's quite a few things you can get your hands on basically. And liquid staking is being really hot this year, if you like. So what liquid staking is, basically you take your STX and then you almost like swap it into this self-compounding token. And then you just hodl that. And then you can take that new compounding token into the DeFi world and do more interest earning stuff with it. So that's the TLDR.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's a good place to end it. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us on the first Leather Lounge episode. Whether you're drinking or degenning, please remember to do so responsibly. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Leather Lounge. Leather is your gateway to everything Bitcoin, from DeFi to stacks, ordinals, runes, stamps, NFTs, and more. Don't forget to visit our blog and learn center at leather.io and join the conversation on X every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern.